Okay, the next topic is the CSS box model. So all elements in HTML can be considered as boxes. In the CSS, the term box model is used when talking about the design and layout. Okay, the CSS box model is essentially a box that wraps around every HTML element. It consists of the margins, borders, padding, and the actual content. Okay, I'll write it down: margins, borders, paddings, and the actual content. Okay, so we'll even study what is these four. Okay, now let's first go for the margin. So margin clears an area outside the border. The margin is transparent. Okay, clears area outside the border and it is transparent. Okay, now the next topic is the borders. A border that goes around the padding and the content. Okay, when you see a website, it's always the margin, the bigger part, and then under that comes the order, and then inside that comes the paddings, and then the actual content. So okay, so this is the actual boxing. So first the major part is the margin, and inside that border, inside that padding, and inside that actual content. So that's the reason the border said that border that goes around the padding and the content. Okay, so it goes around the padding and the content. And let's go to the third one, that is padding. Clears an area around the content. The padding is transparent. Okay, as the margin was transparent, even the padding is transparent. So if you would have seen, when you give a border, there's a space between the border and the text. Okay, a minute space. So that is the padding. So when you give a padding, so even that comes in place. Okay, so it says clears area around the content. Okay, so now the next, what is the content? The content of the box where text and images appear. So what is an element? The element has the opening tag and a closing tag, and in between that there is a content. So that content will be here. So the text or the images or anything which is related to a content. So this is the actual gesture of the box model. Okay, now let's go to the next topic, that is the big three in CSS. Okay, big three in CSS are inheritance, the next one is specificity, and the last one is the cascade. Okay, now what is inheritance? In the previous videos these three have been discussed in depth, right? So what is the inheritance? Inheritance is inheriting the style or some property given to the parent child to the children child. So I showed you an example of the body div and a paragraph file. So paragraph was the child tag of the div tag, and the div was the child of the body tag. So when I gave a background color for the body tag, the body, the div, and the paragraph, all three got the background color as blue. And some border to the div tag, the div and the paragraph both got the border of 1 pixel solid with, I think, hot pink color, right? So this is the actual meaning of inheritance or actual need of the inheritance. So the main thing because of which inheritance came into a big picture is that data redundancy. It makes really less made data redundancy less, right? So when I told about the body, div, and paragraph, I just gave in one place the background color and it got applied in 3 places. So here the data redundancy is gone, or it is decreased to somewhat the other extent. Okay, so the second one is the specificity. In this we saw 4 parts, right? If you remember the 4 components, that was the first one. We just gave it from the low to high. So the first one was the normal name or normal tag, okay, the p tag, h1 tag, like that. And the second one was the id selector, and the third one was the class, that is the pseudo class selector, and the fourth one was the element selector. Okay, for that even we took the example of anchor link or anchor visited or anchor unvisited. So mouse h over, something like that, right? So in that we came with that. So specificity is basically giving an high and low specificity to the styling or the elements which we have. So where is this used? When two components or two elements, oh sorry, when one element have two different styling properties of equal priority or equal importance, then the specificity comes into place. It will check which is the highest one. The highest one will be given the place. And the another thing is the one that I showed you, that 4 components, right? That with the help of that, the specificity will be decided. So that 4, understanding that 4 and remembering that 4 is also important in specificity. So the next one we'll go for is the cascade. So what is a cascade? We have already talked about this, right? So in CSS style sheet cascade by order of importance. Okay, this is in CSS, the cascade is used for by order of importance, right? So even in that we saw 5 different parts or 5 sub points, right? In that the first one was the author inline styles, right? And the second one was the author embedded, that is the internal style sheets, okay? And the third one was author external style sheet. The fourth one was user style sheet, and the fifth one was default browser style sheet, okay? The sentence or the names may be changed, but all the 5 were as the same meaning as I told you earlier also, okay? So when it comes to cascade, if the rules in different style sheet conflicts with one another, the rule from the most important style sheet wins, okay? So as I told you, the one with the most important style sheet wins, okay? So for example, if I think in that also, if I was shown an example, then please consider this, or else also please listen to the example, okay? So if there is an internal style I'm going to use, and there is a div tag, and inside that I have a p tag, okay? So now I'm going to give some properties to the div tag, like give the background as blue, and then align the text inside the div to center, okay? And now in the p tag I'm giving some other properties, like that is make the background as red. So now what will be the output is that the red will be overlapped to the blue. Why? Because now the blue has been changed inside to red, okay? You got, so the one with the most important priority or with the most important style sheet will win this. So this is the small recap on the big threes, okay? The name given for these 3 tags in CSS is a big 3 in CSS, okay? So please do remember these 3 are really very important to new and to work with the CSS, okay? Now let's see some example for the margin, border, padding and the actual content, okay? And let's know this CSS box model more in deep, okay? So let's go here. I'll add some h tag and then even a div tag, and I will give some borders to the div tag, okay? This is heading 1, okay? So in the div tag I'll give something div, and write this is a break, okay, to make the content break, okay? Tag and I'll give line 1. I'll copy this. I just wanted to make the content break, okay? So nothing else to bother in this. Okay, actually this is line 3, this is line 4, this is line 5, okay? Now I'm going to give some internal styles to this div tag for the creating a border and then a padding inside it and then a margin in it, okay? So now let's see an example of that, okay? So inside this I will write background color as light green, okay? Now let's first see what is happening for this div, okay? I got the background color as gray, okay? So this full is the div, okay, from here to here. So the as you know, div always observe the full width that is available. So if you remember, I told you that some default or built-in properties will be there in according to each and every browser. So see, there's a space here, right? So this is the built-in or the by default styling properties which is given individually by some of the other browser, okay? That is a user agent style sheet, okay? So this is the place, so you can even see then small output for that also, okay? So now here the background has become a gray. Now let's give border, okay, and I'll give it as 15 pixels. before giving a border, let's give some width also so that it will be more clear to see or made to see. 300 pixel. Okay, so it's a solid gray. And now let's run this and see. Okay, so when we run this, we got it's for 300 pixel and we got in border of 15 pixel solid green. Okay, so now we will even give some padding and margin to this. Okay, so when I give a padding, let's see padding. Inside this I will write 50 pixel. Let's see how the padding works here. See, I have got a 50 pixel from top as well as towards moving towards the right. So it's from top it's coming to down and from left it's going to right. So it's a 50 pixel. Okay, now let's go to the next one, that is the margin. Okay, so the next property is the margin. So I will give a margin of 30 pixel. Okay, now let's run this. The margin is given for the whole page, right? So from there it's being shifted for 30 pixel margin. Okay, so this is the actual concept of the padding, border and the margin. So this is the border and the one which we changed for inside the box was the padding and here it was the margin. Okay, now let's see another property also. So when I showed you this example, when I gave a border or a padding or a margin, it always affects or it gets changed or the property is given to all the four directions, that is the top, bottom, right as well as the left. Okay, so now if I want to just give it to any one direction, let's take it as a top or the bottom or left or right, so even for that we have some properties in the CSS. So now let's take that as the example. Okay, so now we have border of 15 pixel solid green, right? So I will just give border for one direction, so border and then right, left. Okay, so when you see, only the left will have this 15 pixel solid green. Okay, now let's save this and see. So only in the left there is a 15 pixel solid green. If you would have noticed, in many websites there are some designs like this, like a notebook or just like an article or a tag, something like this. So these are the effects to make it more give a simple look as well as a neat look. Okay, so in the similar way, now it was left, right? So you can use it in all the four directions. So top. Now I got a border of 15 pixel solid in the top. So in the similar way you can do it for the right as well as the bottom. So this is mainly used to give only a certain part of the tag or of let's take a border, right? So in only a certain border should have some unique coloring or some unique style, right? So we can even keep all the three in the same format, or let's take it as top, then the right and the bottom, all three will be in green, and only the left we can give it as red, blue, something else also. Okay, so that's the most important thing. So to give an unique or some unique styling to only one part or one side of the tag, we can use this property. Okay, so in the similar way we have this left, right, this property for even the margin as well as the padding. Margin left, right, top, bottom. So I have already told you that when we just give margin or just padding or just border, it will give this property to from all the four sides or on such a side for which all it can give or possible. So for border, when we gave 15, it was possible for it to give all the four sides. So it gave the 15 pixel solid green, that style, to all the four sides. But when it came for padding here, it just gave for top and the left, right? Because now the right hand or the bottom will not even show any reflex. But I think in this it has even showed for bottom because it's so equal, right? So and when I told about the margin, it is shifted for 50 pixel towards the right and for 50 pixel from the top to down, right? So when we give swatched styles, just giving margin or just stating it as a padding or just border, it will always try to give all the four directions or as much as direction as it is possible from the four. So now when we just specify just left, just right, so it will just give in that direction. So now I'll give margin right. Okay, so why I'm giving right? See here, so it's actually margin right means it will turn from shifted from here. Okay, so this is the margin right, this is the margin left. So from margin left, I'm telling it to push to 50 pixels, but it's already more pixel away. So now it's at least towards the margin extreme end. So now I'll write it as left. Now it will turn, or it will move from margin left towards the right for 50 pixel. Okay, I repeat it again. See, from margin left towards the right for 50 pixels. So this is what it is. So now if I'll give margin top, see, from top it moved to the 50 pixel, but the one in the right just moved, just got disappeared. Why? Because I'm specifically stating that only in the top, or only in the right, or only in the left, like that. I'm specifically stating it that only from margin top to down I want to push it to down for 50 pixels. So that's a reason over here. So when you just give margin on both the sides, or if possible all the four sides, the margin 50 pixel will be given. Okay, so in the same way we can even do it for padding. So now we will try for padding. Okay, so I'll give padding top. Okay, now let's run this. See, now why is this happen? As I told you, it will always try to give all the four sides. So now let's ignore this right part, because it's really very bigger than what we are expecting. So now when I just run it, see, the left and the bottom got disappeared, the left 50 pixel and bottom 50 pixel, because I have stated that I want padding for top, and it should push the from top to bottom for 50 pixel only. So now when I'll give left, this top padding will just get disappeared. Okay, so I'll write left. Now the top and the bottom has been disappeared, the padding is given to only left. So why are we making use of this? That is the top. I will just write it down. Okay, top, left, right, and then the bottom. So why? So if you would have seen in many of the web page or website, it's always the same thing will be there, but with different dimensions or with different properties, right? So if you see in some website, as I gave a border as an example, right? So in some websites you would have seen that in calendar this green would be in the top, and when it is something like some note or some special thing, then this green will be in this left. Okay, some when it's highlighting something, then it will be in the bottom. So they're using the same style, the style is same, but the property what they are using is different. For a calendar they will give it as border top, for any note something they will give it as border left, and for highlighting something they will give it as border bottom. And the content, when the content is in the right side, it will be always border right. So the same style is used in different ways or in different dimension with the help of different CSS property. So in such a place, this top, left, right and bottom takes place. So here we didn't use anything for right. Why? Because all of our content are by default in the left, or or even we have set something to left, but it is by default everything is in left. This is also in left and this is also in left. If we are giving something, or we are aligning it to the right, and when we give this padding right, margin right, border right, then even that will be looking good. So let's even try that, so that it will be very good. So I will give body, and inside that body I'll write text align, I'll say right. Now let's see. So all of them are shifted to right. Now why is this not shifted? Let's see that. So this div is not shifted. The div tag is not shifted because the div tag always occupies the full or the maximum width which is available. So now here we have given the 300 pixel, but here it's a div tag, right? So it will always occupy the full. So to shift this, we will make use of the margin. So from here we'll make use of the margin left. So for the margin left, so I'll make it like this. Let's take 250 pixel. Okay, so first it's for 50. Now I'm going to take it as margin 250. So from the margin left, okay, it will shift towards the right for 250 pixel. Now let's save this and run this. Okay, see, now it's shifted, right? Why is this? Because I will explain it. It's a div tag and it will always occupy the maximum width which is available. Okay, so it will not shift because let you you will see say left, right, but it will be same for this. So when you say top and bottom, it may vary because it will not occupy the full height, but it will only occupy the full width. So for shifting it more, we'll make some more also. So let's give it as, I think 350 will be much. Which shifted you. So now we will make this to be the right. Okay, so that the actual concept for what I was showing this example will be. So border. Okay. So now I think you would have seen such an examples in the or such contents in the web pages or websites which are available also. So this is the main thing for the top, left, right and bottom, just to give some part of the element or some part of the style, some other unique styling. Okay, so this is all about the top, right, bottom and left in the border, margin and the padding style. Now let's see another topic, that is the vertical margins collapse. Now what is this vertical margin collapse? Okay, now first let's see the definition and then we'll even see some example for that. Okay, top and bottom margins of an element are sometimes collapsed in a single margin that is equal to the largest of the two margins. Okay, sometimes that happens that we are giving there's two elements, and for one element we are giving a margin bottom style, and for one the margin top. So sometimes these both collapse and that becomes, and that margin is known as, that collapse is known as margin collapse, and for that the margin collapse will have the maximum that will be equal to the maximum or the largest one of the two margins. So for example, one margin is of 10 and the one is of 60. So for that the margin collapse will be the largest one, that is the 61. Okay, so and the one more thing, that's a note, that this does not happens on left and right margin, it only happens on the top and bottom margin. So now let's see an example for that also. So we'll just remove this div tag. Now I have one h tag and then I'll have another h2 tag. This is 2. Okay, now I'm going to give margin top and margin bottom paddings or styles for this. So let me give for the first one. Okay, I'll give margin bottom as 50 pixel. Okay, now what's happening? First let's run it simultaneously. So I have told for this as margin bottom, so from the bottom it is going to 50 pixel. Okay, now let's give some margin style to the second heading, that is the h2 heading. Okay, so now we have given your bottom, right? So now let's give up bottom top also 2. Give it as 20 pixel. So now let's run this. There's no any difference because this will be invisible. Okay, why? Because here when as I told you in the definition, here the margin collapse takes place because as I told, the heading 1 will consider this as the bottom. So from here it went for 50 pixel, and for this is the top. Okay, so from here it went for 20 pixel, but now it became collapse, the margin collapse. So the one with the toppest margin will be the distance between them. So the toppest is 50 or 20 when it comes to the comparison. 50 is the maximum or the largest one. So the 50 is the difference between them. So if suppose I give the top as 120, so now the difference between them, that is a margin from, so what I'm saying, from top go to 120, right? So for this the 120 will be the largest or the distance between them. Let's save this and run. So see here, so now it's shifted to here. So it's for 120 pixel. So this is the 120 pixel distance between the h1 tag and the h2 tag. So here the margin collapse takes place. Topic, that is the CSS. So what is the use of the CSS display property? So let's see the definition and the usage. The display property specifies the display behavior, the type of rendering box of an element. In the HTML, the default display property value is taken from the HTML specifications or from the browser or the user default style sheet. Okay, the default value in XML is inline including the SVG elements. So now we'll see an example and understand this. Okay, so for first let's see the syntax for this. For the syntax we'll write the element name, okay, or the element, and curly braces we'll have the constant or the mandatory word, that is the display. In this we have many values. So in the many values we'll say few, and I will even let you know what are those values. Okay, but in the example we'll see few of them so that you can understand the concept more clearly. So the property values are the inline, okay, and then next the block, so it's block, and next is the content, next is the grid, okay, and next is inline block. The next one is the inline flex, okay, the next one is the inline grid, and the next one is the inline table, next is list item, then the next one is running, the next is table, the next is table caption, next one is the table column group, okay, the next one is the table header group, okay, the next one is the table footer group, the next one is the table row group, next is the table, I have done with the row, right, table cell, next is table column, next is just the table row, then none, then initial, then inherit, okay, yeah. So these are the values. Okay, so out of this we'll just see any few, hardly 4 to 5. Okay, and let's know the concept of this, that is the display property. Okay, so this is the syntax, and inside this I'll write display and like none. So where we will use it and why we are going to use it, we'll see that now. Okay, now let's go for a small example, and I'll make a very small one or a very simplest one with the help of a p tag. Okay, let's create a p tag. Okay, so before creating it I will almost say that what I'm going to do here first. So I'm going to create 4 p tags, and inside each and every p tag, or let's give it as, okay, not p tag, 4 different div tag, and inside div tag in some part of the content I'm also going to use the p tag. So for that p tag I'm going to write this all display properties, or some of the display properties with their values. Okay, now let's okay. So now I'll give some content like this is div tag, okay, and inside this hello, okay, continue with p tag. Okay, so this is the content. So now I'm going to give some properties or some display properties to this along with the value. So I will give some class name. Okay, we have always used the id, right? So now we will even make use of the class. So this is example 1, right? So example 1. So now I'm going to write some properties in the style tag. Okay, for that first I'll say p, and I want the color to be as red. Okay, so if there's n number of p, then each and every p will have this red. So for now this p should be in the output as red. Got it, right? So now I will give some properties like this. For the class name eg1, and inside the curly braces I will write display, and inside that I'll write none. None. Now see what is the output. There's nothing like that. Why? Because I was told that I don't want some p tag like that, so just take it off. So here there's no that allow word, right? So so if you feel that in some of the content you feel that this is very important and you highlight it, and suddenly in the upcoming days or in the upcoming versions of it you feel that no, this is not an important content in this web page or in website, so at that point you can make this use of this, that display none. Okay, that's it, and there's no use of searching for it or doing something else. You just need to know the class name or the ID name, something like that, and you should just write a display and a colon and none. So what it does, the content which is inside that p tag or which is in that class, that content will be disappeared. So even now let's take examples like, now I'll give none liked, now I'll give inline. Okay. Now what's this inline? Okay, I will say that first. So this basically says that the so wait, for that I'll tell you what's p, right? So now what is a p? It will always start with a new line, right? So that's the reason when we first run it, the yellow was in the new line. Now I'm telling that it should be inline in the sense it should not be in the new line, but it should be continued as a single line. That means this is a div tag, then a space, then an hello, then again continued with p tag, but this hello will be red. So now let's see, yellow is there but it's in the red color, but actually the basic fundamental rules for p tag is it should be in the new line, right? It should end and start with a new line, right? So but here we are telling that please be in the line, so that's the inline. Okay, so now I will take some other value. Let's take it as, okay, block. Now what is a block? Now when I say a block, you should be thinking, right, what is this block? As you know, it's in box, right? So in this block will give you the normal p tag output. So this is not useful in p tag, but in some tags where in h tag, something like that, it's on a same line, right? So in that place you can make this p tag, so this block value, so that it will give you in another line itself. Okay, so now let's run this. The normal p tag does. Okay, so now even make use of another inline block. Okay. So now it will be in a box format with we can give height and width, something like that, but it will be in same length. See, now what happened, there's an space in the upper above the line and also below the line. That's why see the width is height is really very big. Okay, so this is the inline block. So we will use this in places for, so when I told about the block, see, only block will be used in such places where there's no that the element does not start or ends with a new line. So and we want to give something new, so in that place we can give us break in that place we can make use of it. Okay, so in this block you may think that we can even give a break, right? So in giving it break in every place is not possible when it's an actual website. When you are creating an actual website, there will be not only one p tag or one div tag, something like that. There will be n number of p tags with same content or different content but with the same style. So in such places these are the short keys or short tools, or let it say at anything, short ways. Okay, let it take it as a simple short way for the user, or for the author to make it more simpler for her. Okay, so this will even be helpful for reducing the code redundancy, as well as this will be helpful for the code, the developer or the author to understand the code in a more simpler way. Okay, so when I told about inline, for inline you can take an example of the span tag. What does a span tag do? It will just give some editing for that tag in the same line, so it is an inline, right? So as I said, none means just omitting it, inline means just giving some kind of text designing to the some part of the content. Okay, so in the same line, and when it comes to block, it will divide the line as a paragraph tag did, and when it comes to inline block, the there will be a break, or you can see some difference of spacing, width, height, something like that. Okay, so this is the display property. Now let's go to the second one, or the next one. That is CSS visible property. Okay, now let's see what is this visible property.